All right, y'all, and we are live. I think so. Yeah, we are. Hi, everybody, and we are live. How's it going? Welcome to the Black Atheist Club. We are back. Get it back, B.A.A.S.H. I know, bad joke. Terrible joke.
I got you. No, I got you. It took me a minute, but I got you. That's good.
It's all good. All right, y'all. Yeah, we are back with the Black Atheist Club. I'd like to show y'all with my panel. We have Quadris here. Quadris, introduce yourself. How's it going?
My name is Quadris. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Virgo. I like walks on the beach, things like that. Is that a good introduction?
Perfect introduction. Perfect.
Okay.
And we have Shelly.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shelly. Well, see, I don't know really what else to say. I'm still, I guess you can still consider me a little closeted atheist. Not anymore. But
I was going to say.
Right.
Yeah, not anymore.
Right, not anymore. But I'm happy to be here. I'm tired of hiding. And yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we need to talk about.
Definitely something we need to talk about.
I'm broadcasting to you guys from Cleveland, Ohio.
All right. Shout out to Cleveland, Ohio. Quadris, where you broadcasting from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
ATL. Shout out to ATL. All right, y'all. And right now we have Justin. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Justin. He just joined us. Justin, you hear us?
He might be on mute. Hooking up to audio, maybe. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a minute.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he's you're currently on mute, Justin. If you're talking, that's what's going on. But until Justin comes in, I'll introduce myself. My name is Jerome. B. Jerome Volsi. The B stands for something, but we'll get into that later because my name is extremely hard to pronounce. So we'll get that later.
I saw that on the email. I said,
yeah, that's me.
You know, yes.
That's me. You know, my father took the Bible and just kind of threw Scrabble pieces on the board and said, we're gonna mix and match and see what we could do. But yeah, you could go ahead and call me Jerome. I've been an atheist only for a short time, about maybe 5 to 6 years. You know, and it was a tough journey. It was really hard to get to this point, but I can say that I am happier at this point, and I feel like I'm a better human at this point. There we go. Justin is back on. Justin, how's it going, sir? Ooh,
it's like he got a dragon over there.
Yeah, we got a little feedback over there. Well, once he's in, we can go ahead and get it started. All right, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. Start our conversation. Just want to see how everybody is doing first. Shelly, how's it been going? It's been a while since we talked.
It has been a while. That's why when you asked me about this, I was like, hell yeah, I'll come on. Like, we haven't talked in a minute. Everything's good, just busy. You know, work's busy, everything's busy. But I wasn't sure what the topic that we were going to talk about today. I wrote down some other notes about slavery, which is kind of befitting for kind of what's happening in the US. But maybe we'll get to that. But yeah, so yeah, everything's good. I'm excited for the conversation.
All right, awesome. Quadris, how's it going with you, brother?
Same, kind of busy with work and side hustles, but other than that, everything is everything. I can't complain. I'm going to listen anyway.
Gotcha. Justin, you there now? All the audio got worked out. Oh boy, we still have a bit of an audio issue with Justin, but that's all right. It's all good and well. We'll go ahead and figure that out. I'm also doing okay. You know, work's been kind of stressing me out, but it's we gotta do what we gotta do. You know, you feel me? And I'm glad to be here, talking to everybody, talking to my esteemed panel. Let's go ahead and get into this discussion. So we're gonna be talking about dating today, dating as a Black atheist.
Well, so you want to mute Jerome? I'm sorry, Justin. There we go.
Yeah. I want to.
That's an interesting.
There's a demon over there.
I know. Over there. What is happening? Justin, what's going on? I hope you can hear this.
Yeah, we're gonna have an issue with your audio, brothers. But go ahead and whenever you get that fixed, go ahead and let us know. All right. But Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get the conversation started. So we're gonna be talking about dating as a Black atheist, and I know for the past 5 or 6 years that I have been an atheist, it's been pretty difficult because everyone knows in our community we love us some Jesus. Either we
Yep.
love us some Jesus or we love us some higher power. You feel me? And y'all see that flag in my background. Being that in my community is blasphemous, right? Blasphemous, especially when your father's a pastor.
Oh
So
wow. A
it's
PK.
I'm a PK, yeah. So it's been a little tough. It's been a little
Me
hard.
too. Me too.
Oh really?
So
Yeah, my grandmother is a pastor, so yeah. Yep.
My grandma was an evangelist. So
Yeah.
look at us, all these
Yeah.
deep
We're
religious
heathens.
people.
Yeah.
all of us heathens here, all of us heathens here. Justin, I'm gonna have to keep muting you until you get your sound worked out. All right, bro. So we're gonna go ahead and start to talk about it. So, as a Black atheist, well, let's start with Shelly. As a matter of fact, as a Black atheist woman, what have you ran into that has been interesting and has been shocking, or basically what has your experience been dealing with our community and being an atheist and a woman?
It's been mixed, to be honest. I had a long standing. Okay. That is, yeah. I had a long standing relationship with someone who was atheist. Well, he called himself agnostic, but he was atheist more or less. And it was interesting with our relationship that we had because when we first met, I was still a Christian. And then I kind of deconverted, if you will, and now everything's on kind of the same level now. So that was interesting, but out and we dated on and off for quite some time. um I that I know of, he was pretty much the only one who was agnostic atheist. Most everyone else that I've talked to have been either Christian or Muslim. um the good thing was, though, that they didn't I don't want to say judge. They didn't judge. They didn't try to get me to like convert or anything like that. So I would say for the most part, I have had a pretty good time, pretty easy time with that. I haven't had any major things. However, that's a deal breaker for me. I realize, since I'm an atheist, I realize most people aren't going to be. So ideally, yes, I would like to be with someone who's an atheist. So, but the deal breaker for me is that the moment someone starts to try to make me convert, the moment someone tries to make me change, that's the moment where I'm just going to be done with it. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened because, whenever I'm talking to people, I break down facts, especially if it's an intimate relationship, we will talk about religion. I will tell you why what you believe is trash, and I'm going to let you know the facts about it. So most people just kind of understand. They might say, "Hey, Michelle, I don't really agree, but I understand." So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
All right, sounds good. And Quadras, how about yourself? How's it been with you?
Let me wait till that lion quit running. Um, I think my experience probably pretty much the same, although not like it's a competition or anything. But I'll just say, I think if you Black and you gay and you atheist, like the people that you're dating, if you're meeting gay men or women for that matter, who are also Christian, like there's all this other cognitive dissonance shit going on that you got to wade through. So I feel like it might be, again, it's not a competition, but like it's like these people that I would be dating are already invested in like this self-hate shit. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
fundamentally they don't believe they worth nothing and all that stuff. So you got to get past that. And what Shelly said is her deal breaker. That's what I always find. That you'll meet somebody and they'll say they're okay with you being a non-believer. But then eventually they feel like they got to save you, because pretty much that's what the religion tell them anyway, that they're going to have to save you, or, you're going to hell going to be their fault. And just a little bit more about me. So I was religious my whole life, super involved in the church, sing in the choir, praise team, Sunday school, all that. And so when I moved out of that, of course, I think for a little while I was definitely angry black atheist, but then I got over that. But again, the thing that I see most of the time is like these people that are stuck in religion. If a gay man was still stuck in Christianity, like there's all kind of other mental shit that you're gonna have to deal with besides that. So that's been my experience. Most people would say they cool with it, but eventually they'll just ghost you because they don't want to hear that.
Because
Yeah, they actually not
we're vampires and we
Right.
do
And
bad
we eat
things to
babies.
people.
yeah, we eat babies.
Yeah,
Yeah, true, man.
yeah,
I hear that a lot.
we're devils. Yeah.
Do you know,
Exactly.
Shelly, if you ever had anybody do this, like the people that want to convert you, the reason why I gave all that background, because I was gonna say the thing that made me want to punch somebody is when you tell them you're a non-believer and they hit you with, oh, well, you just didn't do XYZ enough. And like, I don't know about y'all, but like when I say I was in the church, like I'm talking about like 12 years old, already recognizing I'm gay and fasting and going to get hands laid on and shit. And so for a person to tell you you ain't tried hard enough, like that shit is infuriating.
It is. And I was actually gonna ask you that, being a person who's gay, how does that, I mean, I guess maybe you wouldn't be the right person to ask, but that's what the Bible says, is like you're an abomination. I never
Mhm.
really understood, and I'm not part of the community, so hopefully I'm
Mm-hmm.
not speaking out of term here, but I never kind of understood that. Like, how could you adopt something that says you're trash? I guess I can't even really say that about gay people. I mean, about women too, really.
But yeah,
So after a while,
exactly.
or just being human, the fact that religions tell you, hey, you're a piece of trash, you're a piece of shit just for you being you. Um, I just don't know how someone can adopt that.
You think about how, like you said, like being gay and all that stuff is a thing, but even just being human, like I remember, I hope it's not like TMI for the show or anything, but like being in high school and you know what boys do when they discover themselves in high school, but
Mhm.
feeling guilty about that, like feeling like, oh, I'm gonna go to hell if I'm doing that. And it's like you grow older and realize they had us so messed up. And especially for gay, my experience as a gay man is there was definitely self-hate involved. There was definitely every time the biological things that you can't control happen, you beating yourself up and trying to figure out what's wrong with you. Luckily for these new gay Christians is they do have the alternative of going to affirming churches, which I didn't have. So at least
Mhm.
they can
Yeah.
kind of get it. But the thing is, Shelly, I'm like you, like I can't even argue with a Christian no more. The words are the words, and it say what it say. So you right. That's why I ain't in that club no more. You're right. I am going to hell, and I'm gonna have fun because that's where all the fun gonna be at. Not in
Right.
heaven.
Yeah. That's where all the interesting people are
Right.
gonna be at anyway. You
Right.
understand? We're gonna meet Carl Sagan and Christopher Hitchens, you know what I'm saying, and Frederick Douglass, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
Langston
Right.
Hughes.
Right.
That's who we're gonna
Exactly.
meet, you know. So, but that's all good and well. That is actually an interesting perspective, Quadra, because I've always wondered, like, um, people who are part of the LGBT community and they do go to church. I don't know if you guys ever seen that show Greenleaf, but
Yes.
Greenleaf kind of
Yeah.
explored that. Yeah,
I was
exactly.
a fangirl of Greenleaf, an atheist fangirl of Greenleaf, which sounds really weird, but that show was well done. It just
It
Was
was.
was
it?
good. I'm
It really
sorry, it's a good
was,
show.
right?
You know,
Yeah, I was waiting for, I don't remember the lady's name, but the one who came back home. Like in my mind, I knew it was gonna happen, but I was like, what if she just flipped the script? Be like, I don't believe none of this shit no more. Like I was just hoping
I
she
thought
did
she was
that.
gonna do that. I thought her character was gonna do that, but yeah.
yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought was gonna happen. Like they was gonna flip the script and they was gonna not gonna do that. But you know, it's a black show, so of course
Of course.
everyone gets the turn yourself anti Jesus moment. So that always happens. But Greenleaf did actually explore that, the fact that our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, they are in these churches and they lead our choirs and everything like that. And how can we say that they're an abomination, everything like that? You know what I'm saying? How can we say that our sisters can't be leaders, but they're the ones like basically running everything? I'm saying, like, the black woman, if without the black woman in the church, I don't know what would happen, because let me tell you,
There wouldn't be a church, to be
it probably
honest.
won't be a
It just
church.
wouldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, you're
As
right.
now, I can say, as a heterosexual man, and I'm cisgendered. So as a cisgender heterosexual man, in my experience with dating, it's been kind of strange, because so many times I would get women who it'll be one or two things. Of course, that'll be a deal breaker for a lot of women. They'll be like, "Oh, you got everything I want." You know what I'm saying? You're well put together. You don't disrespect me, anything like that. You seem to have a good
But
relationship
you're
with your
a
moms.
heathen.
Exactly. But that's a cutoff. We can't do that. And the other one would be like, well, we can't date, but I already got a hotel for the night. So you know, it'll be that. Now I don't mind. I'll still go. I'm still gonna go. I don't mind. I'm still gonna go. But it's like you kind of telling me, you can't be with me because you don't want to live in sin, but you want to go ahead and take back shots. So I'm kind of I'm kind of confused here. I'm kind of what's going on. You feel me? It's always been one of those. Have you guys ever run into that type of situation as well?
Yeah, I feel like Jerome, the second one is probably the most authentic. I mean, at least she's still trying to get what she want, and she denying herself. Because that first girl, she's sad, and that's like I feel like that's the thing that religion does to mess up people's minds. I was just telling one of my homeboys the other day that I had a friend that used to work with me, and her car broke down, and she had money to either get her car fixed or pay her tithes. And she paid her tithes. And I was like, "You a damn fool! Like, why would you give that money away and you need your car fixed?" But like, that's the type of thing that you're dealing with. And she was one of those girls in your first scenario. So I say, if you're gonna do it, go with the second girl. At least she know what she want and she out here having fun. She just
True.
don't want to wife you up.
True shit.
You ain't
True.
right yet.
Right,
Give me
right.
1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I just have
Okay.
people over. But
Okay.
yeah,
No
no, you
problem. So real quick to that point, I have to admit, guys, that I think it is maybe a little bit easier
Mhm.
to date as an atheist if you're a woman, because I think on the other flip side of it, like if you're like Jerome, like what you were saying,
Mhm.
most women will really care. We're talking about straight people here.
Right.
Uh Most women will really care. Most Black women will really care. And if they are into Black men, like most Black straight women are,
Mhm.
they're going to have a really hard time with that. Versus like for me, I haven't, again, in my experience, I haven't had too difficult of a problem, because men who are like highly religious, even when I was a Christian, I would stay away from them anyway.
Right. Right.
But I could imagine how difficult that could be on the flip side of it.
Right. Right. Exactly. And and the thing is, like, it like Quadra said, he's right. A lot of these women, like, at least they know what they want. That is true. I think with me, it just gets to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm more than just, an object to get your rocks off. So it's like I actually want something. So when I kept on running into that, it got kind of annoying. I didn't go off on anyone, of course, because it's not their fault. We're all human. We want that. You feel me? But of course, their church will tell them one thing, and then it will be something else. It's just like all the time. I'm like, I actually want to have something that's meaningful and has a purpose in my life. I just don't want to be getting my rocks off all the time. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? And I think that was the point where I was starting to almost withdraw from the dating scene. I was like, damn, do I have to go to the other side? Do I have to, look at our milk maidens? You know what I mean? Do I need to start looking at the chalk children? Because it's like, damn, man, like, Black women, y'all ain't they ain't going for it. But I didn't give up, and I do have one now that I love and I care for. You feel me? So that's
You know,
been
I
a
want.
experience.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. But I wonder if, like what Shelly said, like what is the science behind the fact that like she said, as a woman, like most dudes wouldn't really care, but like Black women, like that, even the ones that you're talking about, Jerome, the ones that's gonna go to the hotel, like
Mhm.
that religious part is still so present in their mind. Whereas a guy wouldn't care if the girl is religious or not. But these women, Black women, like what is it that we've given to them, or that whatever, that they take it more seriously? And so they will be alone because they're like, well, I ain't gonna be with a man that's in the
Yes.
world.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I would say, um, I guess it's kind of ingrained. It's kind of ingrained. First off, for Black women to be tied to a man, which is probably a different conversation for a different day, but that is ingrained. And I would say, right next to that, he better be godly. He better be God fearing. He better not be a devil worshiping atheist. Even though, you know, we pretty much have stats that we're more moral than most, and that we make better decisions than most people do. Um, but that's something I think that's just kind of been ingrained. Even if you see like a meme or something, he better be a God-fearing man. He better be a God. You better not be, what do they say in the church, unequally yoked. That's going to come back on you. That's something over and over and over. If you don't get a godly man, you'll never be happy. So I think most, but at least most straight Black women are really indoctrinated in that sense.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you bring something up. That's something that my sisters, as a matter of fact, when they found out that I was atheist, that's something that they were saying. They were like, you know, how are you going to be able to lead your household, you know, and you're not going to find a woman that has any type of sense, you know, how we talk, or that woman not gonna have no type of sense, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Within the church, what happens is that, just like how you were saying, Shelly, women are indoctrinated with this thing of men are the leader of the household, and for him to properly lead, he needs to be a man of God, basically. And on the other side, for why Christian men tend to not care, is because I'm leading anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I could just go ahead and lead her to the path of lead her to the path of righteousness, essentially. You hear that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And what I've seen before is this actually happened in the church I was growing up, where someone, you know, he was in the world, as they say, you know, and he got with a woman, and they had 2-3 kids together, but actually had two kids. They had 2 kids together, but you know, he changed his life, or I should put it in quotes, he changed his life, became a Christian and everything like that, but she remained in the world. You know what I'm saying? She still remained an atheist. So because of that, he was like, okay, well, if you're not going to become Christian, we're gonna have to divorce now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. They went ahead and divorced. He couldn't lead her to the path of righteousness, essentially. But then he ended up marrying someone else, you know, after like a month of knowing her, or something like that. And they you know, they worked it out. They got kids now and everything. They worked it out. But it's just one of those things where in the church, it's basically like that. In the church culture, basically like that, where they say that you have to, the men are the leaders. We're the ones who lead to righteousness. We're the ones who can, you know, do all the basically we kind of treat women, for lack of a better word, like children. We're the ones who teach them and everything like that. And that's why, you know, I believe in my opinion, that's how I see it. I think why most Christian men wouldn't care if the woman is an atheist or another religion, because we're gonna lead you back anyway. You know what I'm saying? And even if we don't, honestly, most of the church is not gonna care. Yeah, I mean, they'll probably just ask you, hey, where your wife at? Oh, she at home with the kids, and they wouldn't care. You know. So I think that's the thing. But women, because like Michelle said, so indoctrinated, you have to find someone who knows how to lead, which is essentially the answer comes down to patriarchy. That's the answer. It comes down to that.
Yeah,
Essentially.
that's what I was. Yep, that's exactly why I said that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm gonna tell y'all, I had like this might be a, you know, this show might blow up, so I don't want to say too much. I don't want to blow anybody's spot up, but I'm just gonna
No problem.
vaguely talk about a situation that I know a girl who was super, super Christian, and like just to see this girl get with a guy and basically put her personality to the side to be this person that the religion expected her to be. Like she's very, very headstrong, very smart, but will say, I'll just default to my husband. Right. And he ain't that smart. And it's just like, this could be a so much better situation if you just, you know, walk in your gifts and your callers instead of feeling like you got to put your stuff to the back burner. It's just so much like you just see people like really put themselves in really fucked up situations just because they feel like religion says this is what I got to do. If you don't mind me asking y'all,
I didn't think of that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm, and you can answer your question. I don't want to interrupt, but I was gonna say, if y'all don't mind, what's your denomination? Previous denomination?
Well, for me, ironically enough, my very first memories of church were Catholic. My mom's whole side of the family are Catholic, which Black Catholics is just kind of like an, I don't know, just doesn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
But then later, when I really got into Christianity, it was non-denominational.
Oh,
The interesting that you say about Catholic, because my mom's side was Catholic. It's strange. Outside of America, not outside of America, inside of America, back Catholics are rare, but in Francophone and Hispanic Black countries, Black
Yes,
Catholics is
see
a
that a
thing.
lot. Yep.
Exactly. Like if you go down to Costa Rica, Panama,
Oh
Haiti,
yeah.
where my parents are from,
Yep.
the majority of people are Catholic.
Yep.
wow.
But on my
In
side of the
the
family,
States, though, you just kind of
you don't
don't see
see
that
it.
that much in the States. Yeah.
Exactly, you don't see it. And the thing is, I kind of I know it's gonna sound strange, but I kind of wish we would see that more because y'all remember Sister Act, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, like Catholic
Yeah.
songs with the black flavor are so lit. They really are. They are so it sounds good. It sounds good, you know. But gospel in of itself sounds good anyway. But um, what I would say is when I was growing up, we were Pentecostals, old school Pentecostals, old school, you know, thing, you know.
Bro, that's me. Pentecostal holiness, all
Yeah.
that, casting out demons, all that. You know,
Oh
I
yeah.
like to ask that because you can kind of gauge, like, you know, how crazy the person you're talking to was previously
Mhm.
when they were engaged in that. So, because I feel like
Yeah.
Catholicism kind of tame, like, you know, but like me, I was damn in a cult. You know, like when you get into that stuff, it's crazy, especially like storefront churches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys got me this
My
time?
oh
Ooh, we
yes.
got
Okay.
Justin.
Welcome. Nice
We
and
got Justin.
clear. What's up, Justin?
Oh, what's up, guys? I am so sorry about that.
You got rid of that lion.
Yeah,
It's
they
Yes.
I guess they made me download the fucking program finally. They
I
got me.
got you.
That's what I had to do too. I had to update it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
normally join from browsers. You know, I'm like keeping that shit on my computer, but whatever. You guys are worth it. So, what I miss out on? What are we gonna do?
Well, let's go ahead and introduce you first. Go ahead, Justin. Introduce yourself and let us know your experience on dating as a Black atheist.
Oh wow, he's getting right into it. All right, so I'm a recent graduate of the University of Virginia, astrophysics. I am on sabbatical presently because I walked out with my degree, realized I don't actually have to do anything right now, and I haven't come off that yet. So I don't know. It's been interesting just having that kind of control over your life. Got the key to the world, do whatever you want, and yeah, I feel like just sitting on my ass for a minute. I haven't had a break in a long time.
Must be nice, man. Everybody ain't able.
As far as dating as a Black atheist, man. Um, so I have dated religious people in my life, and I would draw a distinction actually because there's, at least in my experience, is a line between um, people who are politically religious versus people who are just sort of, I guess, traditionally religious, for lack of a better expression. Because like the people who involve religion as part of their politics, they're the proselytizing type. They're the ones that are going to take issue with the fact that you're an atheist, and those are the relationships that are only going to go so far before you end up having that one conversation and things just don't work out. Whereas and I say this as I'm drawing a distinction between two Christian people that I dated, two Christian women, and one whose family was not okay with me, and
You know how that go.
and another whose family was like some of the most wholesome people I've met, and that was great. That relationship mostly ended because I had to pursue my academic ambitions. So that's one of the people I still keep in touch with. The other one ish, not so much. Not that it ended poorly, but it's a question about whether or not you're going to stand up to your parents for certain reasons. I'm not sure how much detail I want to go into, because on one hand, like, I don't want to like necessarily spill the tea on these people in case any of them come up and watch this. I don't want to be the ones like talking their business. And the last thing I want is giving out enough that the wrong kind of people can try to suss out who they are.
Yeah, man, this gonna be big. You don't want to say too much.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to. You don't have
Yeah.
to disclose too much. That's totally fine.
Exactly. Never undisclose a lot, man. But
yeah.
But I appreciate you for that, man. But yeah, that's what we've been going on, and essentially like similar experiences, man. Similar experiences. Some folks are good. Some folks would say, hey, they don't mind all that, and others, for some reason, it's a problem. It's a big problem. And we were just talking about, I'm not sure if you heard that much, but like basically in the difference between men and women, because we see like a lot more men don't care if they're dating a woman who's not religious, and then our Black women who do care, and we're just saying that it all basically comes down to patriarchy. The church basically teaches that, the man is the leader of the household, and if you want to properly lead, if you want a man who wants to properly lead, he needs to be a man of God. He needs to be a God-fearing man. I have a friend, Jennifer. She says, why would I want a man who's, afraid of an imaginary friend? She said that's
Hello.
She said that's unsexy as hell for a man. I don't know why we would want that.
I'm not afraid of your God. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was just gonna say real quick. I'm sure you guys have seen it somewhere along the way. I cannot tell you how many of my friends who are straight Black women, religious, who have posted. It's like umbrellas. It's like a huge umbrella that says God. Then it says husband. Then wife. Then
hierarchy.
that. Yes, the hierarchy. So that is like, I feel, no one has it like tattooed on their body, but I feel like so many straight Black women, religious Black women, like that's what they go by. And again, I think that kind of answers, I forget who asked, Jerome, I think you asked it. Yeah, asked that question, like, why is it so prevalent like that with Black women? And that is something like, you just go by that. Doesn't matter if you grew up at, in a single parent household. Doesn't matter if you grew up and your parents were married. Pretty much everybody who is a Black woman who's also, Christian, that's the thing. So that's what they go by. If God is not the Christian God, is not up there on your big ass umbrella, then hey, I'm sorry, I can't, I can't mess with you. That's kind of how it is. I don't really know why. It's weird, but
very.
Not just any Christian God. You got to be the right denomination.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And
like those Seventh-day Adventists don't fuck with just anyone.
No, they really don't. They really don't, for real.
Yo, Jehovah Witnesses are so strict.
No.
JWs are so strict, boy. If you're not a JW and you date somebody who's a J, oh my God,
it's giving
cult.
One of those it gives cult. Really, yeah. Seriously,
my lady's an ex-JW. Yeah, it's she even
thank
says,
God
like,
she got out. Thank God she got out.
Seriously.
No pun intended. No pun intended. Think the flying spaghetti monster that she got out.
Do you know when y'all talk about, I'm sorry, man, when y'all talk about that umbrella, it's like what I was saying earlier about how these women who are smart everywhere else will defer their power in the marriage for somebody that ain't even qualified. Like, I'm gonna make all the money, or whatever, and you handle the bank account, right? Even though she might be better equipped because of that umbrella situation, it's like, I gotta stand behind whatever he do. Even down to like Tyler Perry situations where the man on crack or some shit, and it's like, well, that's my husband. And God gonna pull them through. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, man, you need to get out of that.
They're taught to devalue themselves.
Exactly.
Under any type of circumstance, it really doesn't matter. Give it to God, which is another thing. Well, first of all, how did God allow this to happen anyway? First off, let's just talk about that.
That part.
And
like
when God comes down and swoops down and takes this alcohol or this crack out of my husband's hand, then I'll be okay. But Why did you let that happen in the first place? Nobody wants to answer these questions. And I think it's very, very valid that we ask this.
It's the classic
Yeah.
problem of evil.
I
And
saw.
they don't really have an answer to that. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead,
No.
man. My bad.
Oh, I was going to talk about it's like the problem of evil is something that Christian apologetics is really, really big on, because it's one of those very classical non-religious positions that really asks the question, really challenges the claims of the Christian God, particularly the Christian God being all powerful, all present, all knowing, and how those attributes just don't mesh well with the existence of evil, with the existence of the adversary. Don't even get me started on like
Yeah.
Satan.
Satan.
Jerome, I think we need to have a pod about so we can kind of go into that as well too, because
Oh man.
I
Yeah,
know we
exactly.
could probably, clear out a bunch of time on our damn calendars, but yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's something that we should talk about too, because it is, and especially as Black folks, like, we don't ask these questions, we don't talk about this, or we just say, if God brought you to it, He'll bring you through it, and then
Bring you through it.
we're not going through it. We're sitting in this shit for years and decades, and y'all not doing nothing about it. You
You
feel
know,
me?
Shelly, what you were saying a few minutes ago about like why God didn't show you. I just saw a TikTok the other day, and this lady was saying how she got scammed because they were trying to get a house and they sent money somewhere and they did all this stupid shit you shouldn't do when you're trying to get a house. Whole time I'm watching this, like, and she's like, I'm praying and my husband's doing XYZ and we believe in God gonna do XYZ for us. But then the lady took our money. And I'm like, he set you up. That man don't like
Right?
you.
Oh,
And then she's
Right?
still praying. I'm like, why would you still talk to him? He already messed you up.
It's like, yo, your husband's an idiot. Nigga's
Right.
yeah.
stupid, bro.
Don't give that man your
Your
money.
idiot. Your husband an idiot, and God didn't tell you. Like while you steady praying, he didn't be like, no, don't do that with your money. He just let it happen and watched you.
Exactly. Bro.
And step back and watch your ass get
Watched
scammed,
you.
honey.
Right. And
Yes.
you
Just
still
watch him
talking
get
to him.
I'm
He's like, I
reminded of our
prayed so
IT
much before we
department.
did it.
So like our IT department would occasionally like send out scam emails to everyone on the department list, and then tell everyone a week later what the results were and how many people fell for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that. It's like, yo, God is like the malicious IT guy sending phishing emails to everybody. You feel what I'm saying?
Man, if people really think about it, and I know that's ain't what this show about, but like for real, like people read like Job and shit and make it like a hero story. It's like, nah, you would be cool with a nigga that's gonna turn you over to the enemy like that. They talking about, look what he got in the end. Yeah, but his whole family died. Like, y'all, if a person did that to you, you would walk away from them. But this thing, you every week you got to go talk to him.
Right?
Yeah, the thing is, I know we're kind of getting off subject, but we'll scroll back to dating real quick. But one thing I always thought funny about the Job story is that God, allowed all his children to be killed, right? And then it said he replaced all his children. Like the kids he had is still dead.
Right.
He spent 20 years with them kids, man, and you're just gonna give him 10 more, and that's gonna replace, like, people are replaceable. That's so
Right.
strange.
Actually,
that does circle back.
You know who the hero in that story is? You know the hero is his wife, who was like, you need to curse that God and die. Like, she was the hero. Exactly. Like, listen.
She's the hero.
But he didn't listen.
That actually does circle back to what we were saying before, how people are kind of replaceable, because I see that is taught, you feel what I'm saying? Because they will always say, especially in this dating market, you know how I say that you meet all the criteria of a person, but if you're a dirty heathen, they'll just take you away, you feel what I'm saying? One situation that I went through when I was dating the woman that I was dating before, the one I'm with now, one of the big issues were, me not being religious, essentially. And essentially, one of my big problems that I had with her is like, you're kind of treating me like I'm replaceable. You feel what I'm saying? You're like, every single thing that you've always said that you wanted in a man, I've been doing. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not one of those knuckleheads that be cheating on you. Got a whole bunch of women in the inbox. I actually value your opinion, stuff like that. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't want to big my own head up, but in this dating market, that's not easy to find on either side. You know what I'm saying? A man or woman who's like that, because we all know our dating market makes toxic trendy. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people out there who are toxic for the point of being toxic. I'm like, I'm not on that type of time. You feel what I'm saying? But it seems because you think that I don't worship this thing that you worship, you're just gonna be able to find another thing just like that. You feel what I'm saying? And she would even say that sometimes. It'd be like, oh, I'll just go to one of these churches and find another thing like that. But like, well,
They honestly believe that.
They honestly believe them. Like, well, it's been 3
we
years, so
yes, we were just talking about Greenleaf. Yeah, go into church and see what you find, honey. We were just talking about that. That may not be better for you.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, speaking on Greenleaf questions, I actually wanted to ask you: have you like in your experience, are the men that you've been with and dated, have they ever put such an emphasis on you going to church, or were they leaders in the church and had issues with it, or yeah?
My very first serious relationship, I was heavily involved in the church and he was heavily involved in the church too. And so I was still steeped in all that religious stuff. Like low key, like our fantasy was like, this is horrible too. And he probably wouldn't even admit it. But like we were like, we'll keep seeing each other, but then we'll meet women in the church and get married, and then we'll still, you know what I mean? We'll have these wives. Don't look at me like that, Shelly. I was young and stupid. I didn't know. But and we had the idea.
No, I'm listening to you.
But yeah, but back then I was super involved in the church too.
You couldn't be you.
There's something really tragic about that.
That was like the height of what I could even expect. Like now later on, I ended up eventually getting married and all that stuff. But even that, I never growing up. Like I'm old. I'm like 44, so I'm old. But I remember growing up, like the gay that we saw was like being on film and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I don't want to be that. So then you grow up and all that, and then you get in church and it's telling you it's wrong. So it's like you don't have no place to really just be you. So it was like normal for me and him to be thinking that we was gonna go get these women and like just treat them like some objects, not even really love them, just so we could have a relationship and still look like good church guys.
Right.
So that everybody else could accept you. Did you say men on film though? I peeped that.
Yeah.
That was funny. I love men on film. I'm sorry. I love that shit.
I aged myself. I'm sorry.
I got you. I'm right there with you. But yeah, I feel you. And that's unfortunately a downside. I know we talked about earlier, like churches that are inclusive. Out here, I live on the west side of Cleveland, which is not as Black as the east side. But I see a lot of churches with like they'll have like the rainbow flag and they'll say everyone is welcome. We did not have that. We like growing up, we didn't have that.
Heck no. And I think different. I feel like that the church is gonna have to get smart and realize that gay people, I mean, not to disrespect church, but let's be for real. Like if y'all want to keep that money flowing, the message y'all giving ain't really working no more. Y'all gonna have to figure out a way to include gay people, if nothing else, but just for those ties that they could bring into the church. And the other day, there's a church here in Atlanta called Visions, and it is a gay affirming church. And I just saw the other day where the guy who took over Eddie Long's church, I can't remember his name, but he was sitting on a panel with that guy, and I was like, see. When I was younger, I wouldn't even imagine a gay church. Now I see a mainstream straight pastor sitting on a panel with a gay pastor. And I'm just like, I feel like the church is going to realize that the message they got is stale and boring. They're going to have to add something else. So I feel like I'm going to make a prediction that pretty soon, all these Black churches are going to be, come on, gay person, come join our dance team and praise team and all that stuff.
And you know what? I was thinking about that as well, because it always feels for some reason, and I know folks are going to call me the C word for this. It always feels that Black folks are always kind of behind the curve when it comes to this. You feel what I'm saying? Because the first people that were affirming, were gay affirming, were majority white churches. You feel what I'm saying? And it seems that whenever, I don't know, man, it kind of frustrates, because I did a video about this on TikTok before. It kind of frustrates me how Black folks can be super, super intelligent when it comes to politics, when it comes to like, things like racism, police brutality, when it even comes to like stuff like intersectional feminism. We can be some of the most studious people out there. But if you talk about, how homosexuality is not a choice, if you talk about, how gender and sex are not the same thing, if you talk about how patriarchy is actually not good for men, it's bad for us. Evolution. If you talk about evolution, all of that gets thrown out the window. It all gets thrown out the window. And they always say, oh, that's like white science or something like that. It's
Oh no.
It's
No,
so
exactly. Don't tell me on that Hotep shit.
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. It is so strange. And I'm like, yo, you just gave me a whole ass study on how redlining affected even our health, but evolution is something that's too far for you. I don't get it.
See, that's why now when I talk to people that like at this age that are like, yeah, I'm a Christian. Like, I hate to be like this, but automatically in my mind, I'm just like, some stuff you're going to say just not going to make sense. And I'm just going to have to be cool with that because of the position you already told me that you're a Christian. So, like you said, you're going to give me all this science
That's
stuff.
frustrating, though. That's mad
Very
frustrating. It is, because I really have to I'm just the type of person, I have to make sense of what's actually going on here.
right.
So it's hard to be like, okay, but you're right. A lot of this is that, like, okay, this just doesn't make sense.
It's wild because it wasn't always like that. And
No,
the reason it is like that largely is because of these religious communities being the ones that survived, functionally the purge post-civil rights movement.
y'all think about, like, and I don't know too much about this, but it's just something like how now we realize, like, whiteness and colonialism, like, just like all of our shit is really steeped in that, right? And so a lot of the times when we out here, pushing that women need to be this and that, not even realizing a lot of that stuff is like white supremacy shit. Like, a lot of this Christian stuff that we are pushing as Black people don't even really have nothing to do with us. Like, that be the sad part for me, is us pushing that stuff.
I actually wanted to comment on that as well, because I got really into studying, like African history and our ancestors, like over the past few years, because even though we all know we came from Africa, we don't know exactly which nation, which tribe, what language, stuff like that. So when I started really, really looking up where we were from, one thing that I found out about Haitian people, we come from 4 main groups: the Fon people, the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Akan people. If you listen to the Akan language and Haitian Creole, you can actually see some words that are similar, or the structure of the language is similar, right? I started looking into the Akan people a lot, and I found out that the Akan people are matrilineal. You feel what I'm saying? Like, the property goes through the mother and the wife. The last name goes to the mother and the wife. All that goes to the mother and the wife. The mother and the wife is the leader of the household. So it's like, this is where part of our ancestry comes from.
Yes.
And we're not doing that anymore. So just like Carter said, a lot of this is white supremacy, because even what nation was that? Mali, the richest man to ever exist, from Mali, right? Even the Islamic scholar, the Islamic explorer, he even said when he went to the Mali Empire, he saw women were allowed to have friends with males, women were allowed to go out on their own, women were allowed to have, their tops and breast out, because we didn't see it that way back in those times. So essentially, all of this, patriarchal nonsense, that's an import to Africa. It's not an export, it's an import. You know what I mean? This was not our culture. And even if you see it even to today, you'll see that, well, according to the data, I'm not sure how true it is, but even according to the data, it would say that Black men and women are more aligned in, gender issues than we tend to think. I'm not sure how well that study is made, but still,
Or
you can
aligned
even see it till
how?
today. Basically, like the Pew Research showed that when you ask Black men, have we gone far enough on women's rights yet? Most Black men will say no, we need more women's rights. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
At least in that study. So it's one of those things where we even till this day, we are, all this stuff that we're pushing of men being leader of the household and everything like that. Back in Africa, it wasn't like that. We were much more egalitarian than what we were. So this is an import.
All right, so we ready to tackle the hot takes here then?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Christianity, just in general, is imperialist. It's colonialist. And you can't really separate the patriarchy from, what they brought to Africa. And like, it wasn't a coincidence that the Bible was one of the few things that slaves were allowed to read, right?
Probably the only thing, really, not a few. Probably the only thing, yeah.
And it's wild because on one hand, it's like you can see, certain people who were very prominently Christian, who for whatever reason just weren't like that. Like, for instance, like I guess the most famous example, John Brown. Like that man was religious as fuck. And that is a man whose religious zealotry led him to like do what you imagine like actual Christians would do in that situation, which is, literally lead a slave revolt and, go down fighting, because that kind of injustice isn't something that Christians should stand for. And then you compare this to like the entire Confederacy, who literally enshrined the basis of the slave trade in their interpretation of the Bible. It's weird how it goes that way. But before I get too far off track, I mentioned before about how it was also awkward that this stuff survived what I call the post-civil rights purge. Because we mentioned how gay people are treated in the Black community. That's I want to say it's a semi-recent thing, because you look back, like Fred Hampton himself
Bro,
expressed solidarity with gay people.
right? Say that.
He did.
Because right? I'm sure y'all just like me see these hotep ass Black niggas that be like, gay people ain't never contributed to Black people's rights and this and that.
Oh my God.
Fucking civil rights movement if it wasn't for Black people. I mean, Black gays. You know what I mean?
Right. So like Fred Hampton, who admittedly didn't even understand the issue very
well. To society. I'm sorry, not to mention their contribution to not only Black society but society in general. Anyway. Yeah, it's weird. I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So I was gonna say, like Fred Hampton, just to read what he said, like he admitted that he didn't even understand the issue with gay people, but it didn't matter. They were a clearly oppressed group, and solidarity with all oppressed people means solidarity with all oppressed people. Not to mention that some of those oppressed people are also Black, so LGBT issues are also Black issues. Like when statistics are raised about the abuse that people in the trans community suffer, it is, as you would imagine, disproportionately the minorities within the trans community that suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And not
and Hugh P. Newton as well. He expressed solidarity with the whole the LGBT movement after the Stonewall riots. Yeah, he wrote a letter saying that the Black Panthers need to join in with the LGBT movement, because just like you said, oppressed people everywhere. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like what people actually don't realize, just like what Quadra was saying, like a lot of these hotep niggas, they be thinking, the women and the gays need to get in line or get in their lane or whatever. And the Black Panthers were probably one of the most progressive groups out there. You know what I'm saying? They believed in a woman's right to an abortion. They said that women had leadership roles. The majority of Black Panthers were women. So it's really strange to me how a lot of these dudes be like a lot of times when nowadays when we say to be pro-Black, you need to be pro-Black everything, meaning Black women, Black immigrants, Black LGBTQs. You need to be Black all of them. You know what I'm saying? You need to be pro-Black everybody. Otherwise, you can't be pro-Black. If you're not pro-LGBT, Black LGBT, you're not pro-Black. It just is one of those things, because they're an oppressed group as well with us.
Man. No, I was just going to say, one of the things that I think, in my experience, when like straight Black people have a problem with LGBTQ, like it usually comes across like they give you this thing like, as if all of us are attached to whiteness, right? Like, because they think about the white LGBTQ movement and they think that's Black, but it's like, listen, the reason why there are Black prides across America ain't because we just wanted to be separate. It was because white gay people had a thing going on and we couldn't participate because they racist just like other white people, right? And so if a Black person tell me, an LGBTQ person, that I don't have no place in the community because they think I got a place with white people, there ain't no place for me over there either. And the reality is I don't want to go over there. I'm Black. But I think that these Black people that stand against that, they think that like there's something with Black people and gay people and white people. And it's like, nah, we don't want that shit either. We're not in that group either. They don't want us either. You know what I mean? Remember that Prop 8 shit in California and how all them white people was coming and got the black people to stand against it, right? And of course, black people, we let them use us to get rid of it. And it's just
Goddamn.
that's one of those things where it's like, listen, they're going to use you to kill their enemy. But after they get rid of them, you know who they're coming for? You. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't want to get on my soapbox, man. But
no, I mean, so
it's
like,
all good, bro.
It's good to remember. In the earlier moments of the civil rights movement, we actually faced this issue, and there came a point when again, we'll call back Fred Hampton declared sexism is counter-revolutionary, and by extension, all that kind of bigotry is counter-revolutionary. And as history shows, it's when those women were accepted into the movement that the movement picked up, and women went on to carry the movement, which is great, because that's, I mean, if you want to talk about harking back to African tradition, yeah, that's how it should be. Women carried it as they should, because they can.
In the Funali tribe, the Fula tribe down in Africa, it's the men who have the beauty pageants. It's the men who dress up in makeup and everything like that and try to impress the women for women to choose them. You feel me? So it's always strange to me that we push this Eurocentric standard. And here's one thing I've always said, especially with everything that's going on with Just Hilarious right now. One thing I've always said is that the concepts of like manhood, womanhood, masculinity, and femininity, these things are not well defined in the first place. And even within the definitions of when it was being developed, we weren't even included in that.
Bro,
come on, right?
Exactly. And that's evident now. Yep.
It's just like when a black person, like when an interracial marriage person wants to come against gay people, and it's like, do you realize that this thing that you're doing, you couldn't even do? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
And they going after miscegenation too.
Come on,
they're trying to end that.
And I know not to make this, because like y'all said, this is a hot topic, the whole Just Hilarious thing. But it's like, even that, like, that's a really silly issue for these black people to be going at each other for, like black women. And imagine, not to say black women didn't do it, but it's like, this is silly when real life, they trying to make sure that y'all can't do what y'all want to do with y'all bodies, right? And y'all arguing about the word cis in front of your name, or you know what I mean? Or she says she thinks you're a real woman. Like, that's silliness. Like, that it's a bigger thing that's going on.
When it comes
although I don't want to say too much, because I'm not really in either one of those communities, so I don't want to like say much.
Right. I want to say, when it comes to any, say, any, I guess, I'll let you go word carefully here. Any influencer, any pundit, any sort of black person of influence who speaks on these issues, I can easily determine, like as a litmus test, whether or not they have anything that's worthwhile to even fucking listen to, based upon what their opinion is of James Baldwin. If they don't got the right opinion on James Baldwin, everything that they have to say is trash. And that is
I'm gonna borrow that.
Not failed, right? No, but seriously, because think about when we look at how things were in the civil rights movement, and how things are now, and wondering what changed. Like, aside from all of our leaders being assassinated, and pretty much all that being systemically crushed by the government, there was movement during the Reagan era. We saw in the end of the Reagan era, I'm sure you guys remember when you saw the rise of these prominent black conservatives, the Thomas Sowells, what the fuck is that idiot that ran in California? Larry Elder. God, Jesse Lee Peterson. Probably my favorite.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man,
that's my man, y'all. Don't talk about that.
No, but there is a big.
I was about to impersonate him the way he talks. I'm not going to do it though. I don't want to have everybody laughing. Sorry.
Amazing.
But following here, because there was a big cultural push, and I'm sure you guys might remember it. Remember it then too, that the idea of the sort of post-racial society that they tried to sell us on, the idea that essentially by adopting whiteness we could gain acceptance in America. That's when you saw everything from whether it was public figures to even in the media, representation of Black people in media was all about, the essentially the mirror of the white nuclear family
I
facing
didn't even think about it
instead.
like that, man. I didn't even think about it like that.
Like we were sold on the idea that by acting white, by becoming white, we would be accepted. And these people who sort of champion that narrative still do so to this day. And every single time, like they speak about every single time they shout down our complaints about injustice, what is always their response? Oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Essentially, some variation of they weren't acting white enough, so they got what they got. And of course we know it's bullshit now. But that mentality is sort of really pervasive when it comes to, say, these Black people who sort of steep their masculinity, their image of self-worth, their sense of self in, whiteness as we know it, academically. So, they're going to have that sort of weird reactionary response to gay people, and the sort of Chappelle take that Hollywood is trying to put Black men uniquely in dresses in order to feminize Black men. That shit had me fucking rolling when he first said that out. It's like
it's that shit. It's the all these cartoons are showing all this gay stuff is going to make our kids gay, and I'm always
oh
like,
my God,
I didn't see
Not
any
how
of
it
that.
works.
I should be straight according to the things
because
I saw on TV.
it was not
but I'm
mainstream
not.
when we were growing up in the 80s, 90s.
Right.
It
That
was
was
not
not
mainstream.
70s.
And that's
It
not
just
how biology
wasn't.
works.
And
That ain't how biology
exactly.
works.
Once again, the
Is
people don't want to acknowledge the facts of things. And
exactly. And it's always been really strange to me when I've seen takes like that. It's like, yo, y'all do understand how being gay works, right? Like that's
no, they don't.
No, they don't.
We talked about this
They don't.
before last week. They fundamentally
they don't, bro.
they don't believe that LGBT people actually exist.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what that's what I'm
someone
saying.
I read the same thing with atheists. Someone on the chat on YouTube actually just glanced and said, I think they said something, show me that an atheist exists or something like that. So I've heard that on
Yes.
our end of the
I've
spectrum as
seen
well.
that a lot as well.
That we
Yeah,
secretly
Which is
believe in God,
weird.
but we hate
Yeah.
them, and like it's a very sort of
we hate them. We're angry
very.
at the bearded man in the sky.
Yeah, we
Church,
was hurt.
Church,
We were
church,
hurt in the
all
church.
that.
And it's funny
Yeah.
because even that is a very limited, very Eurocentric view of it, because it's like you ain't the only kids on the block, and other religions don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had my Reddit atheist period, like I'm sure a lot of people did when they first came out, but like it's like, other religions aren't like this. What's wrong with you Christians? Like
yeah, exactly.
like pagans ain't like this. Why can't you be like them? Like
yeah, exactly. Pagans is cool, man.
like,
but of course they can't, y'all, because like one of the things is I gotta save the world. It's incumbent upon me to spread this message, so I got to do that, or I'm not gonna get my mansion.
Yo, I heard
Your
that
gold
when I was
street.
a kid. I heard that when I was a kid, yo. You're not gonna get your mansion in the gold streets and your crown with the jewels.
Your house right next to God's house, I guess. And
like what?
Yeah.
But I was watching the video.
Exactly that emphasis on like gilded and wealth and all these
like
weirdly material things.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like what is all this materialism you're bringing up into the afterlife? It's like what do you? What does God need with the starship, right? What do angels need with gold?
It's to bring it back to dating a little bit. That's when people would say that you would see your wife and your husband in heaven and everything like that. And I would always ask some people. I would always ask some people, right? I was asking 2 questions. Number 1, what if you get married to someone who's not Christian? Does that mean that you're in heaven while they're in hell suffering? How can you enjoy heaven while the person you love, for 50 something years is suffering? And the second thing is that if I'm going to see my wife there, when I turned 13, I was a perverted little boy. So the first question I asked was, if my wife going to be up there, is we going to be in heaven? Because it's gonna be all
What did
pleasure in
people
heaven,
say?
right? So
What did they say when you asked that?
I got kicked out of Sunday school and I got in trouble because I was
It'd
asking
be
nasty
interesting.
questions.
It's on a tangent. I'm reminded of how sort of culturally Black people aren't as receptive to, like, ghost stories and the idea of the vengeful dead coming back to harass the living. It's like, we know that's not true because this country still exists. And you have any idea how many lives, how many bones, how many dead, like just statistically, if even like a fraction of the people that were killed in those circumstances came back to haunt anyone, this entire country would be fucked, right? Like,
hey, listen, bro. Like whites would not be the majority if ghosts actually exist, because boy, the ghost of Harriet Tubman and John Brown will come back real quick. They ain't done yet. They wasn't done yet. Nat Turner will come back real quick.
Not to mention
he
the
wasn't
ghosts
done
of the
yet.
natives before that.
The natives, they'll come back real quick. So that's how I know ghosts aren't real. Hell, matter of fact, that's how I told my peoples, like, yo, that's how I know voodoo isn't real. Because if voodoo was real, France would have been screwed a long ass time ago. You know what I mean? They're one of the richest countries in the world. All right. If voodoo was real, France would have been screwed a long ass time ago. All right. They now getting screwed. You feel me?
It's interesting. It's interesting because France, actually, like of all places in Europe, France has that special sort of, like, that's like, compared to all the places in Europe, France has like a special place in the history of Black people.
It does.
Like don't forget, they were very, very radical about their concepts of freedom. Remember, I forgot how early it was exactly, but they had that long-standing policy about no slavery, and to the extent that when American slave ships ported in France, they had to make sure that none of their slaves even stepped off the ship, because it was the law that if a slave steps foot in France, they are free. That was, and they were very mindful of when American slave ships came in, and it no doubt, people got out on that. I mean, there's a reason why they had to hold those slaves pretty much at gunpoint whenever they arrived in France. France, not only then, but God, even Black people like, Black people were all over the history of France. Even from the earliest days of the Revolution to the resistances in World War II. It's like, don't get me wrong, what they're doing in Africa is still kind of fucked. And it's also kind of weird because, like, even Macron was just kind of open about it. Like, yeah, it's like,
he's very open about it. Like, yeah,
like,
he even said it, like, a huge part of our budget comes from, our sovereignty over African finances. Like, that's where he even said, like, if Africa were to break away, France would be doomed. You know what I'm saying? That's where all of most of their raw resources, Africa, their budget is upheld by the CFA franc. You know what I'm saying? If all those countries in Africa were to abandon the CFA franc, like, France is fucked, basically.
Yeah.
They will be completely screwed. You know what I'm saying? And which is why, they all need to break away from the CFA franc. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I love you, France, but yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's break away. And it's funny that you say that. A lot of like, France has a special place with Black people, because, like, even in the American context, you'll see that a lot of Black sounding names have a little bit of French influence. For example, Shanique. Shanique has a French influence. There's a lot of Black women named Michelle. You know what I'm saying? Over in Haiti, we call them Mikai. Exactly.
All of New Orleans.
All of New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Over in Haiti, we call them Mikael.
All Creole culture.
Exactly. And for Haitians, there's two common girl names, Mikael and Manushka. Both of those have French influence. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, France really, the English, screwed the majority of Black people. But but the French, they were a huge impact, a huge influence. You feel what I'm saying? And we still have a lot of those French holdovers down in Haiti, a lot of like, you know, the romance culture and everything like that.
Mhm.
But it's
That's right, because Hades, if I'm remembering it right, it was that one French platoon that
Yeah.
held out with you guys during the revolution.
yeah, there was one that we spared them during, you know, Dessalines' entire purge because he went to a boy. Dessalines wasn't playing. he wasn't playing. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, man.
There's a reason James Baldwin went to France when he fled America.
Mhm.
And as he said, France has its issues, sure, but you don't have to fear for your life when you're in France.
Exactly. Because they're so used to black people. Black people were basically ubiquitous in France. So it's like it was kind of normal. Now, of course, there were some places where you couldn't go. As a matter of fact, it's interesting because there's been research that shows this, like back during the 60s and everything like that. If an African were to try to visit France and go into a cafe, he wouldn't be allowed into that cafe. However, if an African American were there, they will let them into the cafe. And in the reverse, you'll see that down here too. You'll see that African Americans will have to sit in the back of the bus. But if an African came here and said he's African, he got to sit in the front of the bus. You know what I'm saying? So they treated them
That's
differently.
very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It was very, very interesting.
Dynamic.
Very interesting dynamic because they basically what I've always said is that comes from basically your colonial subject. You know what I'm saying? Like African Americans don't belong to Europeans, they belong to Americans. So we have
I
to
will
treat
say
them
more broadly that how you are treated and where you are allowed has a lot to do with whether or not you can actually speak French as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. If you can't speak the language, then there's no problem. We'll go ahead and let you in. But we do know these African people do speak the language, so we won't let them in. You see what I'm saying? But I always saw that as like basically your colonial subject. You know what I'm saying? Africans don't belong to America. They belong to Europe. So we'll treat the Africans differently. You know what I'm saying? But the Africans over in Europe, they belong to Europe, but the African Americans don't. So we'll treat them differently. You feel me? It's basically like property rights, essentially. They see us as property, which is why I've always said, as Black people, we need to forget all these gender wars and, these diaspora wars and these, warring about LGBT community. They see us all as property. All right. That's what they see us all as. That's what it is.
God, now I'm reminded of all the really fucked things Christian missionaries have done along the African West Coast.
Yeah, to everyone.
Oh.
We've kind of gone on a tangent for the past 30 minutes.
Yes.
But it's all good. You know what I'm saying? I love talking to my people. I love talking to, like-minded people to basically get all the information out there, all the perspectives out there. So it was good hearing all the perspectives and of dating in our position within this community, because as we know, Christianity and white supremacy affects all. You know what I'm saying? Anti-Blackness is global and ubiquitous. So even
we're
amongst
not immune to propaganda.
We're not immune to propaganda, exactly. Even amongst us atheists, there's still a lot of, that propaganda out there. A lot of the anti-women stuff, a lot of the anti-LGBT stuff. Hey, I'm not sure if I know Justin and Quadras probably saw it, but Shelly, you weren't there. But when I first got into these Black atheist groups on Facebook, when I saw the whole temperate street was on 100.
Okay. Could you I'm not on Facebook. So what happened, if you guys don't mind?
You know how you mentioned that little umbrella thing of the, it would be the same thing, but only like, the gay pride flag coming down on it and the family is protecting the kids from it and stuff like that. It'd be like, this is what we need to do, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's an interesting way to dissect that, because so remember the new atheist movement came about in the early 2000s, post 9/11, as a sort of cultural backlash to the sort of hard Christian nationalist bent that came up post 9/11. And what ended up happening was I don't want to just say it as a meme, but Obama fucked a lot of these people up.
Yeah, he did.
But things got weirdly political in a lot of these atheist groups because unfortunately, a lot of these sort of grandstanding new atheists, a lot of the atheist community, even you even still see this in some branches of the Reddit atheist community. They had essentially right-wing political beliefs, and
Are we talking about Black atheists here,
Black atheists?
yes, I mean
yeah,
all encompassing, but these Black atheists sort of fell into that. So, when Obama got elected, and that's around the time I remember things just got wildly, nakedly political within a lot of these atheist communities. And the thing is, past a certain point, you can't really go very far with right-leaning ideology without at least paying lip service or deference to Christianity. You kind of have to at that point, and by
so
no
how does
coincidence,
that match up? Yeah,
by no coincidence, some of these some of those old school like big atheist types, like I think the one I like kicking on social media, Sargon of Akkad. I remember that guy.
I remember Sargon. Yeah, he went
don't
super hard,
remember
right?
him.
Oh man,
Yeah.
and now look what he's talking about. He's an unironic Christian nationalist now.
Yeah.
A lot of them,
Unsurprisingly, yeah.
a lot of them went that way
Yeah.
because they held on to their political beliefs more so than their religious beliefs. Like their conviction as far as being atheists didn't really fly very far when it came to the existence of Black people.
Exactly. And then you'll see that you'll see a lot of hard right stuff, especially with what's that guy named, the one who everyone thinks is a genius, but he just word salads everything. Jordan Peterson. Yeah.
Lord.
You'll see with him as well as like his bullshit is essentially like it's so crazy because if you ask him if he believes in God, he'll be like, oh well, you have to explain what belief means and you have to explain what God means.
What
and then
is
explain what this means. Come on, bro. Do you believe in God or not? Jesus fucking Christ.
That's some Bill Clinton shit right there.
Yeah, exactly. But like it's
you remember that? What is. But like that's the sort of level of rhetoric that Jordan Peterson and a lot of his fanboys employ. They don't like to actually affirm positions because then they have to defend them, and they don't really have defensible positions.
That's right.
Exactly.
And I think they know that too.
They do know that. That's why Peterson never
gets
a straight answer to anything, because the few times that he did, he got his ass fucking destroyed. Oh my God. I remember, do you remember, I don't know if any of you saw that when he had that debate with Slavoj Žižek, if you guys even know who that guy is.
Yeah, I saw some of it.
Oh, the delightful trash pan. Oh, like you knew. So like in the very beginning of the debate, just to give an idea of how it went, Peterson spoke about how he read some of the Communist Manifesto for his background research onto this, and just for context, the Communist Manifesto is like literally a pamphlet. It's not a long read, right?
Yeah.
So like if you can't even get through that, and that's your research going into this, okay. And then
you're gonna get bodied.
And then Zizek in response said that he read Jordan Peterson's entire library, every single thing that Jordan Peterson wrote in preparation for this. And it went precisely how you imagined it.
How you expected. Exactly. Oh man.
I'm gonna look that one up. So thank you. Okay.
Yeah, definitely gonna look that up. But all right, guys. We've been here for about an hour and a half. We did pivot a little bit, but I love to have the conversation. It's all good. It's been
that long already, man.
It's been that long already. Yeah, exactly. So I want to go ahead and wrap this up with everybody and I definitely want to come back on Sunday. On Sunday, we're gonna have like 5-6 people on this, so it's gonna be a lot. And you guys are more than welcome to join in as well. Let's go ahead and get some last words. Same time, 8
on Sunday.
Same time, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, that conversation is probably gonna go until about 10 o'clock because we're gonna have about 6 people.
What's the subject? Man.
Same subject, dating as a Black atheist.
Okay, all right.
It's inevitably gonna boil back to issues of justice, because
It's
it's
just
kind of unavoidable.
It's unavoidable. Yeah, of course. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's just I want to get everybody's perspective and everything like that. So,
Oh yeah.
but I want to go ahead and get some last words in. Michelle, what are some last words you would like to talk to the people with?
Just I would say, when it comes to matters of dating and matters of religion, I would say that if you are a believer, sometimes you have to really sit there and think about what you believe. Sit there and really question, do I believe in a book that says that slavery is legal and you are able to beat your slave as long as they don't die, and you're a Black person on top of that? We have to really, really think about these things and ask yourself, is this something that I should believe in? As far as dating, I mean, honestly, I haven't had too many dating woes, but that's what I would say. Really sit back and think about what you are believing.
Gotcha. Wonderful. Quadras, how about you, brother?
First of all, thank y'all for having me. As far as last words, I want to say, as far as dating, I said all that shit about dating Christians, but actually right now I am dating a former pastor and it's actually going excellent. So there is hope. You know what I mean? Like, just because they are religious does not mean that they cannot, that y'all can't find a common ground. So that's all I got.
Gotcha. Justin, how about you, sir?
Speaking from my own experiences on this, I'd say there's a difference in how the topic is approached between whether or not, the religious person in question is one you're going to get along with. Like, for instance, in my successful relationships with religious people, we never really had that debate, as it were, about their beliefs. I mean, there were points when we kind of spoke candidly about our beliefs and, like, sure, like in that sense of exploring each other's personalities and what our beliefs are and just getting to know each other. But the whole sort of scrutiny, debate, challenging beliefs thing never really happened in the successful relationships I had with religious people. So they're not all like that. I'd say it's more about their politics than their religion. And I think everything is political, really. But yeah, I guess that's it. Just remember, they ain't all like that. I got past my Reddit atheist phase. I know it's a very cathartic thing to get into for people that are just, newly breaking out of it, and they have all that anger, very righteous anger about being lied to all their life and everything that they missed out on because of what they were forced into. But, the religious world is a lot larger than just, white people from Europe and their bullshit. And as you sort of learn to explore that, you'll learn that, it's not all about these asshole Christians. It's not all about Christians, period. Right. And I mean, we end there right there before I end up taking this in another 15-20 minutes.
Gotcha. Not a problem. All right. So I think last words I would say is that we always understand that beliefs are important because beliefs are important not because of what they are. Usually is because of what it makes you do. Beliefs are usually a guide to your actions, so everyone understands why you have this deeply held belief. So the atheist position is, I don't have any justification to believe that, so I'm not going to believe the same thing you do. But what I would tell Christians out there and in the life, if you meet someone who happens to be someone in our position, someone who's non-religious or doesn't believe anything in what you believe at all, these things do not make you unequally yoked, as your pastors would say. Or make you unequally yoked was, just like Justin said, will be your politics. If you believe, that as a woman you have certain rights, and that man believes as a man you don't have those rights, it doesn't matter if he's Christian, Muslim, believes in the flying spaghetti monster, or an atheist. He's a dickhead, and you're not gonna work out. You feel what I'm saying? One thing I've always pointed out to someone is that it's better to be with someone who doesn't believe as you do but still treats you as an equal than someone who believes every single thing that you do but treats you as an inferior person, or not even as a person at all, a non-human. You feel what I'm saying? So take that into consideration while you're out there in the dating world. We understand not everybody believes in the same thing. You know what I'm saying? We understand that this is a deeply held belief that you have. But just like I said, who would you rather be with? Someone who treats you well but doesn't believe in what you believe, or someone who's a pastor of the biggest megachurch in America but treats you like shit?
Compatibility is not about being identical.
Exactly. Unity does not mean uniformity at the end of the day. All right, y'all. I would like to thank everybody for coming up. Sunday, we're gonna have a part 2 of this. Of course, there's gonna be at least 6 people there.
Oh boy.
If anyone wants to go ahead and come up on the panel as well, I'll send you the link and you guys can go ahead and come up, or you can go ahead and watch and comment, and I would appreciate it. We did get comments today, but of course it was from super Christians, and we know how that go.
Wait, did we actually?
Yeah, we actually
did.
did.
I peeped that on YouTube.
Yeah, I peeped it. That's what I was looking at to see who was commenting.
No, I missed it. I like engaging with some of that stuff sometimes, but we'll get to it next time.
Not a problem. But I will catch you guys next time. I did enjoy this, and after this dating series, we're probably gonna get into the religious trauma series. You know what I mean? Talk about your
man.
Please remember me for that, man. I would love to participate in that.
Oh, I got you, and I'll do it at a perfect time whenever you have time. All right. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you all later.
Thank you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Take care. Yes.
Later, y'all.
Take care.
See y'all.